Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, here in New York City at 8th Cloud Expo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you're following this out there on the World Wide Web through any of the 1.8 million pages at syscon.com, cloudcomputingexpo.com. We have 11 hours of cloud for you today, day 2 of the show. We got through more sessions yesterday than I've ever seen in just the first day of any show. More of the same today. Focus on the enterprise, as always, at Cloud Expo. I'm not going to take up any time from Oracle because they need to crack through a lot of material. That's going to be the order of the day all day long. So let's give it up for Mark Schwartz and Anthony Lai, and they are going to tell us about cloud software and services next generation. That's always our focus, yes, looking forward. And there's going to be an extremely noisy and flattering walk-in video. So let's give it up, please, for Mark and Anthony.
Give it up for the video. Good morning. I'm Mark Schwartz from Oracle.
I'm Anthony Lai. I work in the development organization.
I'm responsible for our on-demand business. We're going to show you, Anthony's going to show you this morning some things that haven't yet been shipped. So our next slide is our get out of jail free slide. So just make sure that you know that this is the safe harbor that we provide at the beginning of every one of the presentations when we do some very interesting demonstrations. Well, this is a very diverse conference with a diverse group of people. So we thought we'd start out with, who are you out there? So how many of you are IT managers or IT executives? Show of hands. Okay.
How many of you guys are sort of more of the hands-on developers, IT sysadmins? Okay, a reasonable group too. And then just for our own benefit, how many of you are the competition, just looking to kind of stick it to us later on the web?
We'll stay away from that group, right?
Okay, well that's good to know. It's always good to know where your enemies are, so we should have some fun with that. I guess from our perspective, we thought we'd sort of try and suggest who we are. I guess when we talk about cloud, sometimes we sort of, there's a perception about us as an organization, and many of you are probably thinking, if not tweeting, that we as this sort of organization are a little sort of old-fashioned, a little bit out of touch. I hope, it's really my goal today, and I think Mark shares that we've got sort of 45 minutes to, I think, demonstrate to you we're pretty knowledgeable about this stuff. We've built a lot of good stuff in this space already today, and Mark will share with you some of our successes. And then I'm going to sort of demonstrate for you what I believe is probably the largest single piece of application development on the cloud, and probably the most progressive piece of software engineering that's ever been undertaken for the cloud under what we call our Fusion applications. So we're hopeful that in the next 45 minutes we can give you guys a glimpse of our strategy and our continued investment in this ever fast-growing segment.
And we're going to try to make sure that we provide benefits for both the managers, executives, CIOs in the room, as well as the technologists. That's our goal today. Well, the trip for software as a service started in 1999. You know, I remember making telephone calls on my StarTAC, Motorola StarTAC. I remember watching the Super Bowl on my projection TV.
Yeah, for me, I was sort of in heaven if I could get like 9600 baud on my modem. And, you know, for the record, I never stole songs from Napster. But these were the kinds of technologies, and this was sort of what was around at the same time. It's been 12 years, really, since we came with the cloud. And
you know, that was yesterday. Today, and we look at the last 10 years, last decade of things that have happened, and we say, wow, I was sitting in a data center on New Year's Eve, you know, and the end of 1999, waiting for that Y2K crisis to emerge, you know, but didn't emerge, luckily. You know, and many things have come since then in the last 10 or 12 years, starting with software as a service.
Yeah, I think what's important and what we'd like you to understand is that even though we may start some development a little later, what we've tried to do is really look back over the last 12 years and share with you what we think has been very successful, what things have come out of the cloud that have really helped you, and really then what are the things that have challenged you. And really for us, what we're launching, you know, this calendar year are the Fusion applications. And we've been able really to sort of build a very modern piece of software that's really been able to sort of take advantage of this last dozen or so years to pick up all of the good things that have been done before us, and really to sort of try and remove all of the limitations that have been created by these companies that have, I think, in many cases now, aging software.
You know, some great things came out of this first generation. First of all, you know, fast deployments. You can get a point solution into your organization quickly. Secondly, low upfront cost. You can get in fast, it doesn't cost you a lot. And lastly, and one of the major features that people keep asking for today is the ability to dynamically expand. You know, buy what you need as you need it.
On the limitation side, you know, I think you can, if you're not careful, end up with a bigger problem with the cloud than you had in your own data center. You're, in many cases now, taking cloud services from a number of different vendors and unnecessarily so duplicating data. You're trying to integrate over very limited integration capabilities. You know, the platforms themselves that were created 12 years ago are proprietary. There isn't really any portability between them. So as you configure or extend the applications, in if not or every case, you're doing so in a proprietary way. You end up with a very sort of fragmented or siloed approach, and you're at the mercy of the vendors. You know, operational maintenance windows, upgrade windows, limiters on the application. All of these things are controlled by the vendors. And, you know, as vendors, we have to sort of sometimes stop you from doing certain things that may provide a challenge for other customers that are sharing the same resources. So these are sort of the problems that we're trying to sort of remove as we've sort of developed the next generation of application.
Those of you that are business folks, you know, have encountered a number of problems coming from this first generation software. You know, the first one is it's difficult to integrate. These are point solutions made by an individual vendor, and you have a bunch of systems running in your organization. So difficult to integrate, time and expensive to do so. Secondly, you know, with the original set of architecture, you know, we've all been exposed to a number of the security risks, you know, with multi-tenant and so forth, and sharing of databases and data. You know, we've seen risk problems, which of course create liability for all of us in organizations. And then many studies have shown that the TCO, total cost of ownership, over the long term is actually more expensive with this first generation business model of SaaS than the traditional models that we're used to.
You know, it's the same thing for the users. The applications that have been sort of developed, the first generation applications, were very siloed and very sort of functional centric. And as users of, the applications, typically the users will have to sort of alt-tab their way through 3 or 4 different applications to complete a given process. And data that's in one application may be incredibly valuable to the user in another application, but because of the silos, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to keep that data available to the user. The user interfaces are all different. And so users are continually struggling to learn new applications and to understand the user experience in all of these kinds of things. And then, of course, with the data set highly fragmented, it provides a real challenge for you in providing true visibility, enterprise-wide visibility to your business executives and increasingly more and more to the end users.
So that's why we developed Fusion, to get you more value, get you your vital information when you need it so your decision makers can make decisions quickly. To do that with less resource, less compute resource, and less BI, business intelligence resource, with less risk. When we've developed Fusion from scratch, we've developed it from the OS through the applications layer. So we have security built in amongst the layers. And then finally, to give you choice. You can buy the suite or a module. You can buy it to run on-premise or in the cloud.
The other thing that we've done, and I hope you'll see as part of the application and the design, is we really wanted to sort of extend the application for developers, for sysadmins, to extend the application, to develop new applications, to configure the applications, either from the sort of the JDeveloper Eclipse-based environments, if that's what people choose. But what we'll show you is an environment that's browser-based, that really allows for an organization to build, to extend, to deliver new applications all at runtime. An application sort of extensibility environment based on the standards, based on Java. An application extensibility environment that leverages Groovy. Groovy is the sort of the Java scripting language. So everything that we've done, we've tried to sort of align the application for the business users, for the developers. For the end users, we've built what I believe to be the most progressive user experience ever created. And we've done enormous amounts of testing. We've brought users in from all over the world, from many different organizations, and we've been able to sort of observe them and to understand the kinds of things that they're doing. We've created sort of complete end-to-end task flows that cover the main tasks that a user will perform on a daily basis. To give you some idea, we've been benchmarking our sort of task flows against the existing applications that many of you use today. And in some cases, the Fusion applications are more than 60% faster. In CRM, the business that I'm involved in, we've been able to, on average, increase the throughput, the time that a salesperson spends in our application. We've been able to reduce those task flows by as much as 27%. So a salesperson, as many of you know, at the best of times doesn't like using a system. And so if we can take 27% of that time, that sort of administrative reporting time away from them, it's an enormous benefit. It's about 9 holes of golf, or it's a few more customer meetings. So we really think that we've been able to sort of look at the sort of existing environments and really do something I think you'll all be very pleased with. So what we're going to show you is a series of applications built on commercially available, off-the-shelf, standards-based middleware. There is not a single thing within the application that's proprietary. The whole architecture is based on a SOA model. All of the objects describe themselves through standard-based UIs, portlets. They're exposed through web services. They're consumed in workflow through BEPL. The scripting engine, if you want to extend the business logic, create new applications, is all based on Groovy. On top of this platform, on top of the JDeveloper environment, we've created an application extensibility environment, a sort of design time at runtime, browser-based environment that give you the ability to configure and extend and build new applications in the cloud. On top of that, we've built an enormous amount of content that covers every area of your business, the back office and the front office. And we've exposed all of this content through a standard UI. A standard UI that's optimized for the end-to-end business processes, an application that leverages analytics more so than any other application has. Historical analytics, real-time analytics, and predictive analytics. We've built collaboration into the very heart of the application, synchronous or asynchronous, voice-based collaboration, email-based collaboration, social networking, built into the very core of the applications. And there's a very tight relationship between the transactional application and the content management systems. And we've done a lot of work to sort of integrate documents and spreadsheets, presentations, and other kinds of media or content directly into the application. So today, every single application that you guys have used today is proprietary. The middleware, if you like, that runs Siebel or PeopleSoft or SAP or Salesforce or Workday is proprietary. You can't port a particular piece of code that you've written in Apex anywhere. The number of developers that are available to us on the Java-based platform are orders of magnitude greater than they are on any other platform. So we really believe that leveraging the breadth and depth of standards-based middleware in an enterprise-based application suite can give you a tremendous number of benefits: cost of ownership benefits, upgrade benefits, portability benefits. All of these things have been built into the application. So this year, we're going to release more than 400 modules. More than 400 modules, SOA-based modules based on that standards-based middleware in our first release. We're covering every area of your business. We're covering financials, we're covering supply chain, we're covering procurement, we're covering CRM, we're covering projects, we're covering contracts. And as Mark said, this is content you can take from us on a module-by-module basis and run it with your existing environments, on-premise or on-demand. If you start on-premise and want to move to the cloud, that's not a problem. If you start on-demand in the cloud and want to move to on-premise, that's not a problem. It's the same code, and you can run the code in a private cloud, in a public cloud. Wherever you want to take advantage of the application, module by module, you can make the decision. So they're pre-integrated with what you already have. And of course, the integration cost between the Fusion modules is zero. They all work on the same schema. They all use the same infrastructure. So what I thought I'd do is maybe sort of take you through a demonstration of the technology. So rather than sort of bring some of the engineers out here, I had them put together a small vignette. So if we could roll the demonstration, let me sort of walk you through what we're going to show you. So when you first see the Fusion applications, I think, and I hope you'll see something we're all very proud of, a very progressive set of applications built with probably the best user experience ever created for an enterprise application. When you log into this example in human capital management, the whole application is configured for your role. So it's not it's not limited by the functionality. Everything that you need to do is presented to you. You have watch lists, things that are constantly monitoring the things that you do, that's updating you proactively based on those things. Business intelligence is everywhere within the application. Actionable, drillable information. As well as sort of tab-based navigation, we have a rich search-based navigation, a favorites list where you can move around the application. There's a lot of really good patterns, design patterns, and objects and services that you can take advantage of, and we take advantage of. So we have very elegant layout tools for things like organizational charts. Organizational charts that we use to describe hierarchies of employees, hierarchies of customers, and all of these things, again, understand who you are in the context of what you're trying to do. So the actionable items is always configured for you. So as a manager, you can take action on your employees, but you can't take action on other people's employees. And the things and the services that are available to you as an individual are configured for you based on your role and based on your responsibility. Now, in human capital management, you have to sort of provide systems and technology not just to manage historically how your employees perform, but we've built into the application using predictive analytics, things like who's likely to leave. So rules that run and execute on your employee base that sort of consider things like location, the number of times a manager has changed, the duration that someone's been in a particular role. So we're not just looking backwards, but we're sort of trying to use this asset, the data that's been presented to you, to help you with things looking forwards. And you'll see this across not just the human capital example, but across all the applications. As well as providing sort of visually appealing layout tools, we provide very productive tree-based hierarchies to allow you to navigate through long lists, to allow you to be productive. Now, as I said, inside the application, there's collaboration everywhere. Every time you see a person's name, you just hover over the caret next to the name, and you can access every single thing about them. You can send an email to them. You can collaborate with them synchronously or asynchronously. You can start a conference call with one or more people. You can IM a particular person. Now, based on a person's profile, you can use whatever tools that the person chooses to specify in their profile. So in this case, Skype. So directly within the application now, you maintain the context, but you now can collaborate. Whereas today, you leave the transactional system, jump into email. As well as sort of the base transactional information, we give you the ability to manage and maintain social networks across your enterprise. Contacts that are made horizontally, not just vertically through the traditional hierarchies. So we now enable the users to sort of create and monitor and manage not just sort of hierarchical visibility, but peer-to-peer based visibility. And then what's important in HR is this famous 9-box where you can analyze all of your talent and you can assess the people within your organization and determine your strategies for particular people. You can see how well they're doing on an annual basis, but with analytics you can see where they came from and where they're going. There's just an enormous amount of capability, and this is just one of the applications. Within the applications, you get access to dashboards, detailed dashboards that cover time-based and transactional-based reports. So every single user can have a series of dashboards that look at the information not just in the OLTP system, but also in the OLAP system. Because we've mapped the data warehouse directly to the transactional model. So every time you're using the applications, we're moving transactional information into the warehouse and then surfacing that information to you in the form of business intelligence and analytics. And it's the same when you cross from one application into another. The same user experience exists, the same collaboration exists, not just within your organization, but across the company boundaries, to customers and suppliers and partners. All of the necessary selling functionality to do things like opportunity management and pipeline development, intelligence and predictive analytics in things like a sales process coach, in references, related items and materials. The application is constantly trying to help you. It's leveraging the information that's being maintained within it and surfacing not just sort of UIs to get you to enter data, but it's constantly trying to find the best content for you. It's constantly trying to find like things for you. And it's pushing proactively updates and messages, not just from people within the application, but from objects and services within the application itself. Instead of sort of giving people a sort of functional, sort of tab-based metaphor and sort of field-based metaphor, we enable people to construct particular task flows. And through very simple wizards, you can complete tasks far faster today in Fusion than you could in any other application. Here's a great example of some of our predictive analytics. What we're doing for sales guys is we're trying to find them opportunities. So we have an engine that looks back over time at the installed base, that looks at opportunities in real time, and allows you to make predictive rules, derive predictive rules. And what we do then is we basically compare every customer to every other customer. And we can determine, based on the analytics, what customers are likely to buy. So all of us have this experience at Amazon.com where it says people who bought this also bought that. We've just exposed in the Fusion applications an engine that you can configure that does this for you all day, every day. And when you find customers with relevant opportunity, we allow the salespeople, in this case, to execute a campaign using the marketing content, using the marketing server. So no longer do your sales guys campaign by themselves, badly in email. They can do so directly within the application using all of the content. When you want to look at a 360-degree view of a customer, there's a combination of transactional information and analytical information directly within the application. The application, because it's based on a service-oriented architecture, allows you to consume data not just from within the Fusion applications, but to bring information in from third parties, from partners that are building connectivity directly to the application suite. Or you yourselves can, through web services, through the standard portlet definitions, bring in content of any kind. We're not going to sort of make you create sort of iframes and populate kind of ugly content. We basically bring in standards-based information. The same hierarchical view I showed you for human capital management is exposed and consumed by the sales application. So salespeople can describe their customer hierarchy. So again, there's a tremendous amount of reuse from the core objects and services that we as the engineering team have used from the middleware platform that you yourselves can use. Social networking, for many of you, seems to be an interesting and somewhat of a hot topic. I apologize for that. So built into the application, we have what we call activity streams. I'm not going to move. It seems. So activity streams really enable the application and users within the application to publish information about each other. So for example, you can follow somebody in the application in exactly the same way you can follow somebody on Twitter or Facebook. The other nice thing about the application is you can follow objects. Can I get a hand mic? You can follow objects like opportunity, or you can follow an account, or you can follow an industry. All of these things are available to you through the activity streams. Now, when you want to extend the application or configure the application, you can do so directly from the browser at runtime. You don't have to stop the server and restart the server. All of the capabilities are available to you through our composition tools. So if directly from the application, as a user, if you have the role, you can basically come in. Hello? Hello? Good. You can come into the application and you can basically extend the existing objects and services that are available within the application. You can build new objects. You can build new objects to extend the existing applications, or you can build brand new applications. So in this little scenario, let me go and build a new application. So as an IT administrator, a business user, or even a developer, I can go in and create a brand new application. And I can do so all through a very simple UI and very simple wizards and templates. So in this example, we're just going to build a trouble ticketing application. Maybe we want to deploy a small help desk capability within the Fusion applications for people to consume. So I just create my top-level object. I call it trouble ticket. I'm now going to create just a very simple child object to the parent object, and I'll just create activities. So when someone creates a trouble ticket, they can log all their activities. So as well as creating a parent and a child object, I can reuse any of the other objects and any of the other items that are within the application. So I don't have to sort of create an object for sort of create date or, status. All of those things I can just bring in from other parts of the application. So as an IT administrator or developer, you have this enormous library of content that you can use and purpose not just within the existing applications, but in new applications. Now, when we looked at the cloud, the way people achieved extensibility was sort of by creating a table of available objects. In Fusion, we wanted to make sure that people could create top-level objects and objects of first-class status. And what I mean by that is today in the existing cloud-based environments, you sort of have a table of sort of unused objects. And all of the objects are sort of built with the many-to-many relationships because we just don't know how you're going to use them. So they're very inefficient. In Fusion, we don't do that. We allow you to create first-class top-level objects and use them as you see fit. So there's very little overhead on the objects. And when you build an object, the application enables you to build not just the object itself, but the business logic around the object, the business process in which the object is called, a UI, a web service, an import and export function, an analytic, a mobile UI. All of these things are built for you by the application composer. Now, when you want to change the validation logic, extend the logic, do something that the application hasn't been built to do, rather than create a proprietary scripting environment in the application, we have put Groovy into the application composers. And Groovy, I'm sure the IT people and the developers are sort of celebrating this. Groovy is really the standard way that people script around Java. Within Groovy, you can call Java libraries. You can run almost every Java class directly in Groovy. So all of your developers who understand Java already understand Groovy. So when you want to extend the application, change the validation logic, you don't have to go and learn a proprietary scripting language. You can leverage all the capabilities that you had before. You can build very sophisticated triggers on the application. So when you want to sort of invoke the particular piece of logic that you've created, we enable you to do so. Again, all browser-based, all done at runtime. All of the changes and extensions and the new applications that you build can be deployed at runtime. There's no need for you to stop the server. Everything is done in the cloud. So here I'm just going to basically just put in a trigger definition and call the random number process that I put into the previous screen. So the application composers give you a tremendous amount of capability. Now, the really cool thing is when you want to modify the business process. When you want to change our business processes or create new business processes, you can do so in a couple of ways. You can create object workflows using our wizards and patterns, and you can use industry standard BEPL, and you can use industry standard BPMN, because everything about the application is based on these standards. So here I'm just going to search for a business process, and I'm basically going to edit the business process, and I can see here through the wizard how the business process is executed, what happens when the business process is called, how notifications are sent, how tasks are created, all done through the simple wizard. But when I want to go and define a new process or modify an existing process, I can bring up the process composer at runtime and I can modify the BEPL. So when I select a particular BEPL process, what we do is we launch the BPMN modeling tool, and this will allow business people to modify the workflow, IT administrators to modify the workflow, developers to create new workflow. All done at runtime, all done based on standards technology, all done from the browser. This is stuff that you guys have wanted for years, but it hasn't been available to you in the cloud. With Fusion applications, you can really start to do things now within the base framework to extend and build new applications that you could not do anywhere else on the planet. Once you've built your objects, once you've built the logic that surrounds the objects, as you've defined the process in which the objects are called and orchestrated, the next thing you have to do, of course, is start to build a UI. Now, within the applications, we have sort of spent a lot of time looking at the patterns. So when you see a Fusion application, there are sort of summary pages and there are detailed pages. And now you've built the business logic, what you have to do is go build a UI for that business logic. But again, there's no programming. You can essentially take the existing patterns that we've built. Now, if people have used JDeveloper and built new patterns, these patterns will surface in the extensibility framework directly. So here I'm just selecting from the existing patterns the fields that I want exposed on the areas of the pages that are available to me through the patterns. So again, I can just go and select not just the fields that I created, but any of the fields that exist within the application, move them from the left to the right, and they'll be exposed, in this case, in a sort of table view, a sort of row column table view. I can then go underneath the sort of the summary view and pick the kinds of fields that I want to exist on the detail view, the pattern that we've created for the detailed view. So again, very, very simple, very, very intuitive, wizard-driven based extensibility based on the standards. Now, once I've built a web-based UI, I may want to expose this particular application to a mobile platform. Maybe some of the IT guys that go and fix the trouble tickets are remote. So using the same objects, using the same business logic, I can just pick a mobile UI. And through the extensibility framework, I can expose my application directly to a mobile application. All done from the browser, all done at runtime. So I can just go in now and I can select patterns for the mobile devices that I want to use. And in this case, I'm just going to pick the patterns that work on the iPhone. So in the same way as I moved the fields and the objects into the web view, the enterprise pages, I can very simply just select the templates that are available to me, the patterns on the mobile devices, and I can just move the objects, the fields, directly over to the mobile devices in either a summary view or a detailed view or new views if your people have created them. Same logic, same objects, immediately available to you, all done at runtime, either on an enterprise browser-based environment or in a mobile environment. And so when you're running, this is the trouble ticket application that was just built. It took, one of my product managers about 2 hours. And now it runs in Fusion, in the cloud. It also runs on the mobile device. Same logic, standards-based, available to you guys. So we are very, very proud of the work we've done. If you haven't spent time with us and the applications, we would love for you to do that. We're right now working with a number of customers. We're working with a number of partners. We're working with a number of consulting companies to really enable you guys to take advantage of what I really believe is the most progressive and the most significant piece of application development ever undertaken for the cloud. The size and the scale of the applications in the suite capabilities that we've built into the platform at the extensibility layer as well as at the core development layer give you an enormous opportunity to take advantage of these applications. I hope that that gives you a good insight to just some of the cool development work that my team does. What's important, I think, as we're back to the slides, is to complement not just the applications that are available to us, but to start to sort of provide more and more of the services that surround it. So what I just showed you was nothing more than the top 2 layers of our stack. And while we've made an enormous investment in those layers, everything beneath it is also available to us to run our applications and to you to leverage. We've made enormous investments all the way down the stack, from applications to disk. We're spending a lot of our time ensuring that our applications run on our environments and run on any other environments that support the standards that we develop against. We've been able to do amazing things with our Exadata machines and our Exalogic machines that are available to you. Not only are we running the Fusion applications on those machines, but you in turn can use those machines to take advantage of your other sort of data-intensive applications. So a tremendous investment in the applications and in the middleware layer, backed up with enormous investment all the way down the stack. Mark?
Anthony, very exciting stuff. So Anthony spent a lot of time talking about our products. And our products are fantastic. And, you know, the development team has done an outstanding job. I just want to take a couple of minutes and highlight our cloud services business. Because the things that we've done in cloud services actually wind up being some of the primary principles that we used in thinking about how we were going to architect Fusion. You know, so we started in the services business about 10 years ago. We just did application management and hosting for Oracle products. Well, naturally, over the last 10 years, our products at Oracle have expanded through acquisition and organic development. So we've grown our business that way. In addition, we have now started to do application management services and hosting for third-party products that connect to Oracle, and for some of our customers' legacy systems that connect into our Oracle systems as well. So we are now a full-service Oracle boutique with surrounding products. We offer our service, what we call at Oracle, in our Oracle data center, or provide application management services if the computer systems are running in the customer's environment or in a third-party environment. Big business for us. We've become a vital partner to many of our customers to help them get the most value out of their Oracle assets. Now, maybe many of you don't know that we're the second largest software as a service provider in the world. Our CRM application has a robust set of features and functionality that rival none in the marketplace, and we offer it on a subscription basis: license, support, hosting, applications management. Now, when we take what we've learned in services, running our own applications, running our own technology stack, you know, what are some of the key principles that we need to think about as we design a product like Fusion? Well, first, it has to be easy to use. So we allow self-configuration, self-service configuration within the Fusion application stack. It has to be easy to integrate. So we've built pre-integration packs to Oracle. We've built a vast library of APIs to connect to other web applications. It has to be secure. Well, if you're hosted Oracle, you're at an embassy-grade facility. Of course, our data is encrypted. We are compliant with many of the things out there: HIPAA, PCI for credit cards. We do work for the Department of Defense. We apply, we adhere to the NIST standards. We do a SAS 70, or I guess it's going to be called an Assurance 16, or internationally an Assurance 3402 here shortly. And we have a highly reliable service. It has to be highly reliable. It's ITIL-based processes, high uptime, not a bunch of nines. So when we put all those things together and we think about how it has to be easy, you see the features and functionality, ease of use, the wizards that Anthony showed, really quite something. And then naturally, one of the major tenets of Oracle, choice of deployment. We're here at the Cloud Expo, and we know that that choice of deployment can be a private cloud, a public cloud, or where we think most of you will end up over time is that hybrid cloud, depending upon the economic value, the risk of data security, and what you're actually using your applications for. So at Oracle, we like to say we're the technology that powers the cloud. We build a stack of products for you to use in your private cloud. We build a stack of products for companies who are developing services in the cloud and developing products for the cloud. And then, of course, we provide the entire service, the product, the support, the hosting, and the application management. People like to say, maybe that's one throat to choke. In the service business, we'd rather you say it's one back to pat. In summary, Anthony and I would just like you to think about a couple of takeaways. First, Oracle is focused on the future. Second, we're building products and providing services that our customers need and our customers want. And finally, Fusion is the next generation of cloud computing. Thank you very much.